Hi, I'm Fraser Douglas, the avid tent camper. In this video, I want to show you the highlights of our recent trip to Lake Catherine State Park in Arkansas. Lake Catherine State Park is located in central Arkansas, very close to Hot Springs and about 60 miles south of Little Rock. Ava and I planned a trip there in late July so that we could visit with the Tim Douglas family as they drove from Michigan back to their home in Texas. The campground has 3 sections. Section A has 12 sunny sites that are primarily designed for RVs. Section B has about 30 sites that are very shady. This was our site 15. This is site 14, located just across the road from our campsite. And this is site 31 or 32, located near the water's edge. And section C has 25 sites that are located along the lake shore. These sites have a few shade trees, but they also get a lot of sun. We arrived on Wednesday, July the 26th, and set up our camp in site number 15. This was one of the nicest campsites we have ever camped in. It was a very large site with very large buffer zones between it and adjacent sites, with an elevated tent pad that was located right next to the volleyball court. It had a nice fire ring and a very nice pedestal grill and a lantern hanger. It also had a relatively new picnic table that was chained to the ground. Personally, I would prefer a table that could be moved, but this one was nice. This table with concrete pillars was in an adjacent site. We set up our secondary shelter as we normally do, but it did not provide much relief from the sweltering heat. High temperatures for the 2 days that we were there reached into the upper 90s with heat indices above 100. Here is one view of our campsite, and here is another view from a different angle. The campground has excellent security with frequent patrols by park rangers, enforced rules against speeding, and very friendly campground hosts. There were 2 very attractive and very clean bathroom buildings in our section. There was also a yurt in our section and a canvas tent that is available for rent. After setting up our camp, Ava and I drove down to the beach area where we enjoyed a refreshing swim in the cool lake water. We also enjoyed speaking with the park interpreter and looking at some of the exhibits in the nature cabin. The park has a small souvenir shop, but it doesn't have any supplies, and a gas station just outside the entrance of the park has a few supplies, but not many. The best place to go for supplies is a Dollar General store, which is about 5 miles away on the road into Hot Springs. After our swim, we drove back to the campsite and cooked our supper over our woody campfire stove. We enjoyed red beans and rice and corn on the cob. Thursday morning, Ava and I drove 15 miles into Hot Springs to see the old bathhouses and to learn about the history of the area. Our first stop was the National Park's Visitor Center, located inside one of the old bathhouses. We learned that very hot water springs out of the mountain and flows down the hillside into large basins. This water is surprisingly hot at 143 degrees Fahrenheit. Although the spring water is no longer available inside this building, there were several exhibits that showed how customers from the past would come and take baths in the hot water. They believed that the hot water could cure their diseases. This exhibit shows the clothing that male patrons wore at the time and a lounging area within the building. Then we left the visitor center and went to another bath house that is still in operation, but they would not allow us to take photos inside. This is a beautiful old hotel that was located near the bathhouses. Across the street from the bathhouses is a row of tourist shops that stretches for almost 2 miles. In some places, they had to cut the mountainside away just to have room to build the buildings. One of the businesses along this row of tourist shops is the historic Ohio Club. Many years ago, it was the site of illegal gambling and illegal alcohol for tourists who came from the large cities to Hot Springs. Today, it's a very nice restaurant. After visiting the tourist area, Ava and I drove up Hot Springs Mountain. This was one of the rest areas along the road. This scenic overlook and rest area was at the top of the mountain. This observation tower was also at the top of the mountain. We thought we might like to go up to the top, but the elevator was so hot, we decided not to. Thursday afternoon, we drove back to our campsite and waited for the Douglas family to arrive. They pulled in around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. After setting up their camp, we all drove down to the beach and had a refreshing swim. Later, we met back at our campsite where we cooked chicken breast on our woody campfire stove and made chicken salad sandwiches. After supper, they had to get their kids in bed, but a little bit later, Ava and I went over to their campsite and enjoyed talking with them and playing dominoes. Unfortunately, we didn't take any pictures. Although this trip was short, we had a great time. We enjoyed getting to know this very nice campground and visiting with our friends Tim and Martha Douglas. If we had had more time, we would have explored the park's nature trail. Ava wanted to ride the horses that were available for rent. And if we were golfers, there was a beautiful golf course just outside the park entrance. The only problems that we had were the sweltering heat that made it difficult to move, the flies that tried to get into our food, and the no-see-ums that bit our ankles and legs. For more information about tent camping destinations, equipment, and procedures, please visit my website, www.basictentcamping.com, read my book, Basic Tent Camping, and visit my Facebook page, Modern Tent Camping. Remember, take more trips, travel further, visit more attractions, and save money. Go tent camping.